Again, fellow Planeswalkers, how y'all doing today? This is your host, Battlecat, and today we're going to be doing a revamp on a budget vamp deck. Now, I ran a aggro vamp deck for probably about 2 months, and since the Exelon block is about to rotate, I want to show you this budget deck, and it's extremely cheap. And this is not the exact build that I had, but pretty darn close, with the exception of some of the lands and Twilight Prophets. Pretty much just the same deck, and I won 3 tournaments with it. So, anyways, we're going to jump straight into it. First of the lands, it's pretty basic. You got 10 swamps, 10 plains. Then you run 2 Forsaken Sanctuaries, and you run 1 Unclaimed Territory. That sticks to that 23 lands. Now, these you could easily replace with Isolated Chapel. It's a check land, or Godless Shrine, which is a shock land, and you will have the money to do it. As I said, this deck is super cheap and very competitive. So we're going to start off with the creatures here. Our 1-drops will consist of the first one being Sky March Aspirant. Now this is 1 generic white. Is a vampire soldier. In fact, every card in our deck is a vampire, so I ain't gonna repeat myself on that again. But it has Ascend. Now Ascend is if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game. Now City's Blessing does count lands, so as long as you got 10 permanents on the board, all you gotta do is have it once. You got it for the rest of the game. And Sky March has flying as long as you have City's Blessing, and we're very easily able to get to the City's Blessing in this deck. So we're running a full 4 copies of this card, which is a early damage. Drop it on turn 1, and the opponent plays a land, doesn't play anything, we can swing in 2 right off the bat. So it does well in the early game and late game. Next, for our second and final 1-drops, Vicious Conquistador. Now, this one I went back and forth with a lot. I swapped him out quite a bit, but ultimately I found he fits the bill pretty good. He is 1 generic black, and whenever Vicious Conquistador attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, and we are trying to drain and gain. And since we are aggro running this vampire deck, we want to get your damage in quick, fast, and efficiently. This card does it very well. It doesn't even have to get through to do damage, so we're running a full 4 copies of him as well. Next, we have a 2-drop. Moving to 2-drops now. Now this one's kind of our card draw engine, along with the body. And that's Dust Legion Zealot. 1 generic, 1 black, and when Dust Legion Zealot enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. We're not too worried about us losing a life in this deck, considering we're able to get so much life gain out of it. So we're running a full 4 copies of Dust Legion in here for the card draw. Next 2-drop is our Lord. It's going to be Legion Lieutenant. 1 white, 1 black. Other vampires you control get +1/+1. That goes a long way. I mean, it's just a 2/2. You can get shocked, relatively easy, but as long as we can keep this sucker on the board, our vamps, our token vamps too, all get a pump off of it, and it gets pretty nasty quick. So we're running full 4 of these as well. Next up, we have probably one of the best vampires that they made, Dantu Vanguard. Now it is 1 generic, 1 white, and as long as Dantu Vanguard is attacking, he gets +2/+0. Pay for life. Vanguard gains indestructible until the end of turn. Now, yet again, we're not worried about us losing life in this game as much because we can gain it right back. So we have Legion's Lieutenant on the field, have this on the field. We're swinging for 5. We can take out bigger creatures, pay 4, and get to keep Adantu out on the battlefield. Or we can just get in there for 5 if the board is clear. So we're running a playset of this as well. Very good card. Now we're moving on to the 3-drops. We're only running 2 of these, but it's Forerunner of the Legion. 2 generic, 1 white. When Forerunner of the Legion enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a vampire card, reveal it, then shuffle your library, put that card on top of it. Whenever another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. And once you, like I said, you can go fetch our finishers, which we'll be running into. I'll set this off to the side and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then on top of that, you get to put, have them get +1/+1 on any vamp you control until the end of the turn. It's pretty good too. You can go fetch another Forerunner and do the same thing. So we're running 2 copies there. Next, only running 1 of these. I tried to run 2, but ultimately I just went with 1, and that is Marvin Thane Dust Apostle. Probably butchered that name, but we'll see. And he's a legendary creature, which is why, I backed all the way down to 1. But whenever 1 or more non-token vampires you control attack, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. There we go with our lifelink. Produces our creatures. And aside from that, it just looks pretty too, so why not add it in there? We're running only 1 of them. Okay, but here is our finishers for the monster area anyway, or creature area. Sanctum Seeker. It's a 4-drop. 2 generic, 2 black. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Now that's very important considering we can play Call to the Feast twice, and we could probably have 8 to 10 vamps on the board. Swing with those 8 to 10 vamps, your opponent loses 8 to 10 life automatically before the damage even gets through, and you gain that life. I mean, that is crazy. So we're running 2 of him. Next, we have Bishop of the Bloodstain. This is our final creature, and we're only running 1 of him as well. When Bishop of the Bloodstain enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life for each vampire you control. Kind of like Sanctum Seeker, except we don't get the return factor and get life back, and it only works once. So if you need another finisher just to clean the board up without having to actually attack, this is the guy. And we're only running 1 of him, and that's actually the end of our creature line. But here we go into our spells, enchantments, all that good stuff. Now, we're running, for removal, we're going to go ahead and run 2 cast downs. We had majority of different options, but, this is the one I went with. Destroy target non-legendary creature. You don't see that many legendary creatures out that people are playing right now, so instant kill spell for a 2 mana. I mean, 1 generic, 1 black. Not bad. So we're running 2 of them. Next, we have our token producers. We have Queen's Commission, 2 generic. I'm sorry, people. My hands get all floppity-dop. 2 generic, 1 white. Create 2 1/1 white vampire creatures with lifelink. Tokens with lifelink. And you gotta do it at sorcery speed. That means on your turn. But putting them guys out on the board, even if we're trading off, we're still trading up with life. So not too bad there. And it's only a 3-drop. We're running 3 of those. Next we have Call to the Feast. Call to the Feast is a 4-drop. 2 generic, 1 white, 1 black. Create 3 1/1 creatures. Creature tokens with lifelink. Okay, And so you can see where the board can kind of get crazy and out of control if they do not have a board wipe available. But we got ways around that too. But we're running a total of 3 of these as well. Now here comes sides from our Lord that gives our vampires +1/+1. We're running 3 copies of Radiant Destiny. It is 2 generic, 1 white enchantment. Yeah, with the Ascend on here as well. As Radiant Destiny enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. We would, of course, be choosing vamps. Creatures of the chosen type gets +1/+1, and as long as you have the city's blessing, they also have vigilance. So we could have our tokens be 2/2s with vigilance. That's just one of these, and we're running 3 in the deck. So have this with a Legion Lieutenant out there. You can see where this gets out of hand quick with life gain. And then, as I said before, Forerunner can go search for Seeker. And basically, there you go. Game ender right there. So we're running 3 of those. And that is going to bring us to our last one. And that is Pride of Conquerors. Now, Pride of Conquerors is just a combat trick. And if we have to get that last little bit of damage through. It has Ascend as well. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. If you have the city's blessing, those creatures get +2/+2 until the end of turn. Now that's pretty dang good. It's really good. And it can save our creatures from a board wipe. Say somebody plays Carnarium. This is the instant speed. We have Legion Lieutenant out, so we got 4 tokens that are 2/2s and Legion Lieutenant. We just drop this sucker in. Now they're all of a sudden 3/3s, and they don't get hit with Carnarium. And we get to keep our guys. And, plus, if you got 15 creatures up on board, which is very easily to do in this deck, you can then turn around and give them +2/+2 and attack in and gain a buttload of life and put a bunch of pressure on your opponent. And a very aggressive deck. And the sideboard really consists of, if we wanted to slow things down to where we're running up against something that we need to tie down, such as a faster aggro deck or something like that. We have Carnarium in our sideboard, along with Sillaways, Baffling Ends, all kind of stuff like that. But right there, we're only running 1 of. Now, as I said, you've seen where the finishers come in at. Boom, boom, you play these back to back. Got 2 Call of the Feast. You got your Legion's Lieutenant out. You have a total of 6/1/1 or 6/2/2 vamps with lifelink. Okay, if you have Legion's Lieutenant out. If you have Radiant Destiny out, it's 6/3/3s. You swing in with all of them, you gain 18 life. If you have Sanctum Seeker out while you swing, they lose 6 life and you gain 6 life before the attack even happens. Before the damage gets through. And we gain that life. But anyways, that is today's deck tech. Revamping the Vamp deck. So, as I said before, our giveaway is still going on. We have until Thursday, people. Time is running out to jump on board on this. If you are new and have not seen any of my videos, go to my last video. It'll explain all about it. Just all you gotta do is hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a comment below, and hashtag your favorite Planeswalker, and you qualify for those giveaways. And I asked you to hashtag that your favorite Planeswalker because we're coming up on War of the Sparks, which is holding 37 Planeswalkers. Okay? You see where I'm going there? I may do something special, for my subs if we get up to that point. But anyways, until then, guys, drop me down something in the comment section on what y'all want to see me do next. Like, what kind of deck tech would you like me to see? My version of it, or send me a deck tech list and let me put it together and run in a tournament and see how it does. Just anything, really. But for those who are new to the channel, I hope to get higher quality, and once I get there, that's going to be great. It's going to be looking a lot better, but you are going to be going to the pre-release with me. I will take this and shoot some videos there and show you how we do in that event. And yeah, man, I can't thank y'all enough. For the people even watching this, I appreciate it very, very much. It means a great deal to me. Something I'm passionate about. I very much enjoy doing this. And if y'all have any questions at all, feel free to drop them in there. If you have any suggestions at all, good or bad, drop them in the comment section. Until then, may you draw well, and I'll see you soon.